Okay, so this is a twixtor tutorial. Never made a tutorial before, so this might be bad. So for twixtoring, you pretty much just need to find a good scene like this. Pretty good scene for twixtoring. There's like two movements here, and they're pretty smooth. And they stop, which is, you know, not ideal, but it's fine. So pretty much what you're gonna want to do is, this is just assuming you know some basics of After Effects, whatever. You're just going to move forward a couple frames, and each time that there's movement in your character, you're going to want to cut, which is Control-Shift-D. Pretty simple. And you're just going to do this for every movement that's on your clip. So just once you're done doing this, I'll get to the next step. Okay, so once you're to this point, all you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on your bottom layer right here, of whatever, you know, part you want to twixtor, and then you just hold shift on your keyboard and click the top layer on this segment. I don't even know what this is called. Your preview area, instead of clicking here, you'd click here. So then what you're going to want to do is you're going to go to the far right side of your clip, see that these arrows are coming up, and then you're just going to drag this over to the right until you see that your clips look something like this. From here, you're just going to right click on your highlighted area, go up to keyframe assistant, and then go to sequence layers and click on OK. And then it should look something like this. And I'm just going to repeat this process for the second part because I got to do this twice since I'm using two different clips. Then, sorry, didn't need to do the next step yet. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to just click on your bottom layer here and kind of just pre-comp your layer with an S. Sorry, I forgot to say layers. You should pre-comp your layers, which is Control-Shift-C, and then it should look something like this. I'm just going to name my clip 1 or something like that, and then it should look like that. Just going to do the same thing with the second one now, and then rename it to clip 2. Then this is the kind of annoying part. Not kind of annoying, very annoying part for most people. The first segment, you'll see it looks pretty smooth if you cut out your frames properly. It looks like this. And what you're going to want to do here is you're going to actually want to twixtor your clips. So apply twixtor. For this step, I'm using FX console, so I can just kind of add effects to my layers a lot easier. But what I'm doing here is I'm just going to go to effects and presets. Because I'm pretty sure not everyone has FX console, but if you want it, it's a different process, but whatever. So I'm just gonna go to effects and presets. I'm just gonna search for Twixtor Pro. If you're seeing these presets and you're judging me, I don't care. These are old. Don't look at them. So just go to Twixtor Pro. Click on this. So here's what I do here. When your Twixtor is applied to your clip, it'll just look something like this. It'll look kind of really warpy and not great. So what you're gonna do is you're going to go to input frame rate, and you're just gonna type in whatever your comp's frame rate is. So for me, my composition is at 20 FPS, and yeah, so that means the input frame rate is going to be 20. Then you're going to go down to image prep. This kind of just adds a little bit of contrast on the edges of your clip so that the warps look a little bit smoother. So I usually turn on contrast edge enhance, which just looks better. Then you're going to put the time remap mode from speed to frame number. This is so that you can choose which frame you want for your. This is so you can choose what frame you want your twixtor to like end on instead of just using the speed. Which, I mean, they both work, but frame number is just easier and better in my opinion. Then you're going to go to frame interp. I always use motion weight blend, or weighted, sorry. It just, from what I've seen, it just looks better. Then I'm gonna go to warping, and I usually put this on either inverse with smart blend or forward. It kind of just depends on whatever scene I'm using, and sometimes it just looks better. If you're having problems with warping on a scene, then you can just change these up. So yeah, I'm just gonna put it on inverse with smart blend. From here, you're kind of done with this process. This is kind of the easy part, to be honest, and this part is kind of you just learning from playing on Twixtor. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to frame number, which should show up if you copied all these settings. You're going to go to frame number, click on the stopwatch until it looks like this, so you have a keyframe available. And then from here, you're going to open this composition by double clicking on it. And then if you see here, this counts out all of the frames that you have, or each clip that you have, kind of each layer that's in this twixt, or going to be twixt scene. So pretty much what you need to do is just count out how many of these you have. You don't actually need to count them since After Effects does that for you. So it says 1 and then it goes on to 6. Pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to subtract this number by 1, and that's the number that you're going to type in at the end of your clip. I should also mention that if you want your Twixtor to kind of go longer than this length, all you have to do is take your clip, click on it, and then timer up it, so Control Alt plus T, and then it should look something like this. Then from here, you can just move your frame number to anywhere you want. So if I want to go to like here or something, it'll look something like this. And it does look, you know, pretty warpy right now, but that's because I haven't graphed it yet. And really quickly, I'm just going to do the second clip up until this process, so I'll be right back. Okay, now that I'm here, this is kind of just what you need to see now. But also make sure that you delete this part if you do timer map, otherwise you'll just have a really long clip throughout the rest of your composition, and that's not what you want, but you know, I assume you'd already know that. So this is what it looks like. Just really strange looking right now because of the warps and stuff. So what I usually do is I would normally use Flow for this. If you have Flow, then you can use Flow, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm not using it. I'd highly recommend getting Flow or some similar plugin for graphing. What I do is I ease these keyframes, which is just F9 on the keyboard. If you're like me, 60% keyboard, it's function 9, whatever. So then you'll have your graph like this, and it'll look, you know, probably better if you twixt properly. But this is not what we want. You're probably going to want to do something a lot smoother than this. So if you have a beat, which I don't, because I didn't really pick a song out for this, because I'm lazy and I don't care. You're just going to graph your keyframes. I'd hope you know how to graph, and if you don't, you gotta watch some other tutorials before this one, because I'm not teaching that in this. Pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to just see this little yellow circle, dot thing, whatever you want to call it. You're just going to hold shift on your keyboard and then drag this with left clicking on your mouse all the way to the left. Should look something like this, and then you'll have something that looks a little smoother. It doesn't look terrible, but this could work in certain scenes, just not in this one. And then for a very basic graph, you're just going to do something like this. So also do the same process with this circle, and then your graph should look something like this. So pretty smooth already. I think I might actually just keep it like this, but if I was doing something else that needed like a sharper graph, then I would just drag this with left clicking up to like here, and then it should look something like that. I normally graph like this, but it's completely preference based and up to you. Based on your style and based on what song you're using, it could differ completely. And this is pretty much what Twixtor should look like. You can also graph differently. Like if you want to have a kind of like a graph that goes into your clip and then goes out into your next one, it could look something like this. Though I don't normally use this, but it could look good. And then I'll just repeat the same process, but with this part. So F9 with your keyframes highlighted, graph, boom. Looks nice. Looks pretty good. I don't exactly love this, but you know, it looks pretty nice. Looks pretty decent. I like it. So I'm just gonna graph. I'll go graph like this for this one. Yeah, that looks good. Oh, just kidding. It looks really stiff. And it should end up looking like this. And just for some final touches, you can add like RSMB. So RSMB Pro, I normally put, you know, the blue. You can just use effects and presets here. But I normally put this main background blur amount to like 0.2, I guess, maybe lower, 0.1, but it kind of just depends on the clip. 0.3 at most, but I'd normally put it around here. And then it should look something like that. And then if you add like a shake or something, I'm not gonna show you how I do my shake settings, but if you want to copy them, I don't care. So I have a preset for just like before I actually make a shake, just so that I have reptile on here, and then I have the basic default dissolve shake settings. I'm just gonna do something that I think would look good for this. Yeah, so it should end up looking like this. And then if you want to add something like a scale or whatever you would add, it could look kind of different, so I'm just going to scale in a bit. 120 is good. Just graph it, whatever you'd normally do. And then it looks something like this. I think it looks pretty decent, and you know, just a simple end result. If you guys like this tutorial, and you guys want to see maybe like, I don't know, some other ones in the future, then just let me know. Maybe you'll make one. I don't know. Bye. See you next time. What do people say when they finish tutorials?